Hey, what's up YouTube world? Odell here. I'm in my studio in the Sunset District of San Francisco, California, the city that I love. And I'm here today to talk to you about event photography, what you need in your kit bag to do a shoot. So event photography is something that I enjoy doing. I think the reason for that is that it's very close and akin to documentary filmmaking in that you're going to go into a scene or a setting or an event and you're going to kind of help tell a story of that event through photos. Documentary filmmaking, it's through video or film. And I just, I enjoy doing it. So today I'm going to talk to you about what I have in my kit bag. And what you need to do a shoot properly. And so we're going to get started right now, okay? So first thing you got to have is a bag, a good bag. What brand of bag that is doesn't matter so much as it matters that it works for you and that it holds the kind of gear that you need to have on set when you're running around, running and gunning. And that's mainly the kind of area I'm going to cover. A lot of events you might also have to do portraits where you're kind of, you might even have to set up a white seamless. You might have to do a number of different things. I'm going to kind of come from a perspective of just coming to an event and meeting with the client and then going off and just shooting kind of on your own. For the most part, okay? So right here I have the Lowepro Fastpack BP 250 AW2. It's a mouthful. I did a review on this yesterday, and so that's the bag that I'm using. And Lowepro bags are cool. I enjoy using them. I've got this one is kind of like a backpack situation, which for me kind of provides stability. There's also the kind of sling ones where, and the cool thing about those is that you can kind of flip them around quickly and get to your gear in a fast way. But I want to jump into what I have in my kit, what you need. So let's talk about first off is your camera body. You're going to need, ideally, for every shoot, you're going to want to have at least two bodies. If you're doing this as a business, if you're doing this professionally, you want to be able to have a backup body if for some reason one of the bodies fails, your main body. So for me, I have in my kit, I have a Canon EOS-1D X, which is a beast of a camera. It's perfect for event photography. It's perfect for sports. It's got a really fast response time, and that's why people, a lot of sports photographers and journalists and such, will have this camera in their bag. So first, that's my main body. I have a 24-70 L series lens on there. And this is my main camera. This is my main body for any kind of event photography shoot I'm doing. Now, you don't need a body like this. You can have there's many cameras, there's a ubiquity of cameras out there. There's so many different choices that you can go from Nikon, Sony now, Canon, and so forth. There's Pentax, but we'll focus here. What I use is the Canon line. So you're going to want to have some kind of strap. I use the I use the BlackRapid strap to have on my camera, and so you want to have those. I get to a shoot. First thing I'm doing is getting my camera gear ready for the shoot. And I talked about having a second body. So sometimes when you're shooting, you won't necessarily need two bodies, but you want to have two bodies, okay? So what I have here is, Canon 5D Mark III. It's not the Mark IV like everyone's getting now. But you want to have this with you in case you need to have, for example, sometimes you want to have the ability to be having two bodies, hanging from you. So you have a long lens on one and you have a medium range lens on the other. Okay, so that's the first and main and most important thing is to redundancy. You always want to be redundant with what you're doing. You want to have the ability to cover yourself. If for some reason something goes wrong with one of your cameras, you can go to the other one, or in some cases where you need to have two bodies. You need to be able to shoot, and go back and forth. So the next thing is, in relation to these bodies, batteries. Make sure you have plenty of battery power. A lot of people make the mistake of not having enough batteries, and then they get to this, to the location or doing a shoot, and they run out of juice. That's something you never want to have happen. In my early days, I had that happen with a couple of video shoots where I was relying on someone else to bring batteries, and they didn't, and man, that was on me. That's always going to be on you to cover your bases on that. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to have is memory cards. You're going to want to have lots and lots of memory cards, as many as you can. Now, for some of the cameras, like for the 5D, for instance, they are doing a thing where they have a CF card, and also an SD card. Okay, and like this one I have here is a 128 gigabytes. That's more than enough. I typically roll with a 32 gig card in my camera, and that gets me through. I've never really been in a situation where I needed more than that. So I would recommend, you can go 32, 64, or you can, if you really want to, you can go all the way up to 128, and then I think there's even like a 256, which is like, that's more where you're getting into the video realm. So if you're shooting video with your DSLR at events, which a lot of photographers have to do, then that becomes an important part of what you're doing. Okay, so another key part to all this is flash. You need to have quality flash for your camera. And so I will go here and pull that out. And again, with the batteries, and the memory cards, redundancy. Invest in power and the ability to record as many shots as you can. Some people go out on shoots and they're out for a whole day. So if you're in that realm, you really definitely want to have backup power and backup media cards. Okay, so next thing we're going to talk about here is, and this is kind of how I roll, this is the 600 EX RT, the Canon flash on camera flash. And so I get to a scene, this is the first thing I'm doing, man. I'm loading up, I'm getting my camera ready, and I'm loading it up and ready to go. So, and then you're good. Now, some folks have their flash off, a little bit moved off. They have like a bracket or something where, like if you're doing like wedding photography, because you're going to get a little bit more pleasing image in terms of how the flash is going to hit your subject if you move this off away from the camera a little bit. Now, I often just roll like this. This is the way I do it. But I'm certainly open to, if you want to do that, it's something to look into. There's a lot of information online about why you would do that. But the bottom line is that you get a little bit, nicer look to your images. It's the same reason why you would use an off-camera flash to do portrait photography. When the light's here, you tend to get your shadows can be a little bit intense. The light can get a little bit. It's not quite as pleasing. I'm not really here to talk about that so much, but I am here to take a shot here. All right. Wow. Yeah, that's great. All right, working for me. That's good. Oh yeah, nice. Good job. So that's sort of the rundown of it. That's really what, in terms of gear, you're going to need. You're going to need two bodies. You're going to need, most likely, if you're doing this professionally, you're going to have more than one flash. Again, redundancy. You want to be redundant. You want to have more. You want to have things that you can fall back on in case, for some reason, gear is not functioning right. You need to have something. You need to have options. You need to be able to, cover yourself, when you're out and about. So that kind of covers the gear. So let's recap. So good bag, right? Solid bag. You can find bags anywhere from under 100 all the way up, into 300, 400 range. This bag is, around the 170 mark, a little bit under 200. The camera body is expensive. I won't get into pricing of the bodies, but there are a lot of affordable DSLRs out there nowadays that you can get a hold of if you need to. If you're just getting started, you know, you can always rent. Renting is a great way to get started. As you know, are able to get more gigs, then you can invest. I mean, that's what I did. Basically, all the gear I have, it took time for me to get the gear. You know, I saved up money through my client work, and I invested in myself, and I purchased the gear. But I've rented plenty of times. A lot of times you want to rent to test something out. I recommend that in terms of if you want to test out a new camera or a new piece of glass. That's a good way to go. So as we see here, we have the bag, we have 2 bodies, we have 2 flashes, we have batteries for both bodies, charged and ready to go. Another key to doing an event shoot the night before, the day before, get all your stuff charged up. Make sure all your cards are wiped and clean and you're ready to go. So you don't have to worry about that. Even though I do that, I still worry. I still double and triple check my bag. You know, it's just what I do. Sometimes when you go to an event shoot, you'll have a shot list. You'll have a list of who the money is, who the talent is, who the main characters are that you need to cover. And so I'll touch briefly upon that part of it. So first thing you do when you get to scene, you want to find, you know, your contact. Who is your contact there? Find them, interface with them. It's always good to let the client know that you know you're there. Get there on time. Ideally, early is on time in my book. If you're not there like 15 to 20 minutes, sometimes an hour before you're doing a shoot, depending on how involved that shoot's going to be, then you know you're already on the wrong foot. You need to be on time. You need to be ahead of time. So that's important. Interfacing with the client. Go over them with the shot list or what they need, what their expectations are. And then from there you go out, and you're going to go out into the scene. And in some events there's going to be a lot going on. Things are swirling around you. You're really you can become a little bit overwhelmed. What the hell, what do I shoot? So you want to take your time. You want to make sure that you're relaxed. You want to be calm when you're doing a shoot. And so depending on what is required of that shoot, sometimes it could be an event where they want to have, like candid portraits with people who are there. Like if it's an important event and there's, certain individuals that they want to highlight, post-shoot on their social media. I'm talking about the client. Then you want to, you're going to need to go walk up to people and say, hey, can I take your picture? Always be honest, always be happy, always have a smile on your face, and just go about your business. Now, in terms of overall telling the story, you want to be, always want to be thinking about light, and you always want to be thinking about how can you make the shots look better. I often will use ambient light when I'm doing events. I'll drag my shutter with the flash. So, a lot of times you'll see in my event shoots, I have like streaks of light and stuff, and all that is just dragging your shutter. So I shoot in bulb mode in those kind of situations. I find that ambient light, it really can be your friend, and that's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy dragging the shutter and creating some streaks of light, creating a little bit more kind of action in the images. So it just really depends, because there's so many, a lot of you out there are getting into wedding photography. I've dabbled in wedding photography, but I've largely stayed away from it. Not because I don't want to do it, just because it just hasn't really, not that it doesn't appeal to me, that there's just there's a lot involved in that. So this is not about talking about wedding photography in particular. But those are just some of the things that I think about. I enjoy shooting concerts. I enjoy shooting like functions. I enjoy meeting folks, at the shoots, on site. I always love meeting new people. I think that, again, that touches to me in my love for documentary filmmaking and documentation in general. But that's kind of like there's philosophies and stuff behind that. There is a lot of information online. Hopefully, I can help pique your interest a little bit and give you a little bit more information. Again, the key is redundancy, being on time, being early to a shoot, interfacing with your client. Make sure that you understand what their expectations are, what they're looking to do with the images post-shoot. And that's about it, man. So I want to thank you. You're the reason why I do these kind of videos. Again, I'm just getting started in my YouTube video world. I'm not a guru. I'm just some kid that, you know, grew up loving photography and loving video, and here I am, you know, living my dream in San Francisco and doing my thing. So I want to thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what, you know, what you would recommend on a shoot. I'm sure I forgot something doing these videos. You know, there's a lot to cover. So if you have any questions, or if you have something to add to what you would recommend having in your kit, then, you know, do that. I think I forgot one thing. I don't want to jump around, but make sure you have AA batteries for your flash. You want to have plenty of those. Again, batteries, SD cards. That's my mantra before I go out on a shoot. Batteries, SD cards, battery SD cards. All right, man. Take care. Thank you. Talk to you soon. OHP.